Hi students, hope you understood group concept and stages of group formation. So in this module, you will learn group structure. So group structure indicates how group appears in terms of its various elements. So the group structure reflects the intensity of its impact on organizational tasks and then activities. So this is also very important. The manager needs to understand the group dynamics from the point of each group and its structures. The purpose of this model is to understand the group structures and various elements involved in this. If you see, the group structure starts with the roles. So the roles, a set of expected behavior pattern attributed to someone occupying a given positions in a social unit. So everyone individual is given some roles. So what are the roles and how the role supposed to be played by the each individual with expected behavior, individual level at the group level. No, that is the role. And role identity is a certain attitudes and behaviors consistent with a role. So if you are a manager and you should supposed to be a manager, look like a manager. And if you are the supervisor, and your identity as a supervisor and your behavior supposed to be like that. And the role perception, an individual's view of how he or she is supposed to act in a given situations, right? So these are all some aspects of group structure. And role expectations, how others believe a person should act in a given situations. So as a member of the group, you have a role, and then you have a role identity, and then a role expectations, a psychological contract, like an unwritten agreement that sets out what management expects from the employees and vice versa. So you're supposed to have that kind of contacts psychologically with the company. So the role conflict is a situation in which an individual is confronted by divergent role expectations at workplace. So these are the other important aspects. Then core structure, the group structure. So in terms of norms, so if you look at the norms, acceptable standards of behavior within a group that are shared by the group members. So if you are a member of a group, so while becoming a member, so you will be given a complete idea about what kind of norms and culture and traditions one has to follow being a member of that group, right? So the classes of norms, like performance norms, appearance norms, social arrangement norms, allocation of resources norms. So you have to just look at all these norms and the traditions, and then the system that is there in the organization, one has to follow that. Once you just look at the group norms, further conformity. So adjusting one's behavior to align with the norms of the group. So if you become a group member, so you need to just know the follow the norms of the group, right? And you have to conform with the norms of the group, and then adjust with the group. So reference group is like important groups to which individuals belong or hope to belong, and with whose norms individuals are likely to conform. So like you'll find that you are just liking or referring the groups, and then becoming a member, and then you join in the activities of that group. Right. Further, if you look at the deviation workplace behavior, so sometimes you can see antisocial actions by organizational members that intentionally violate established norms and results in negative consequences for the organization. Its members are both. You can see that the violation, so deviation from the norms, and then the systems, rules and regulations. So that also no kind of behavior one can see at workplace. Then see that the typology of deviation at workplace, like category wise and example, right? Production level, living early, intentionally work slowly, and wasting resources, like property, like sabotaging, or doing some kind of politics, showing favoritism, or gossiping, something like that. Personal aggressions like sexual harassment and verbal abuse, and stealing from the co-workers. So such things happens at workplace. So because there is a deviation at work behavior. So further, if you look at the group structure, the status wise, a social defined the position or a rank given to groups or group members by others, like a group norms, status, equity, and culture. So group members by designations, by position, they have their status and they play the status roles according to the given norms. So group size wise, you can see that the social looting, like the tendency for individuals to expend less efforts when working collectively than when working individually. So that kind of tendency will be there. So that is also a different type of behavior one has to understand. And then demography, and then the coherent. So the degree to which members a group shares a common demographic attributes such as age, sex, race, educational level, and length of services in the organization, and then impact of the attributes on turnovers. So the coherent is individuals who, as a part of a group, holds a common attributes, right? So these are the other elements which become a part of group structure. So the cohesiveness is another important thing, that the cohesiveness is the degree to which the group members are attracted to each other and are motivated to stay in the group. So that is, you can say, that sense of belongingness. It increases the group cohesiveness because make the group smaller, and then encourage the agreement with the group goals, and increase the time members spent together, increase the group status, and then admissions difficulty, stimulates the competitions with the other groups, and give the rewards to the groups and not individuals. Physically, isolated the groups. So there are certain issues. It increases the group cohesiveness in the organizations. So look at the factors which are responsible for group cohesiveness. If it is a group size, small groups allows for higher cohesiveness. If it is a bigger organizations, you will find so less group cohesiveness. So then you can see the differences in the other factors also, right? If you see the diagram, like relationship between the group cohesiveness, performance norms, and then productivity. So performance norms high, so cohesiveness is high productivity, and no, if it is there, you can see that moderate productivity if it is a low cohesiveness. And then if it is a performance norms are low, then we can see that low productivity, and then so low moderate level of productivity. So you can see, so these are the certain issues that are there with the cohesiveness. Cohesiveness is a kind of the bondage among the members. So when they are all together and share the common norms and common sentiments and then feelings, and it's in relationship among all, so that helps the organization to to perform more and then achieve more in the group context, right? With this, let me stop here, and thank you very much. Looking forward to meet you in the next video.